This is a Saberforge Reliant Lightsaber Hilt, and it's an empty lightsaber hilt, no electronics on the inside. Saberforge calls their empty hilts Initiate Tier, and that's kind of the default price you'll see for many of their sabers. And let's dive right into it. So you guys, this hilt is loosely modeled, or well, unofficially inspired by the Starkiller lightsaber from the Force Unleashed 2 video game. So that's the inspiration for it, unofficially. And probably my favorite feature about this hilt, you guys, is at the top. I like this slanted emitter design. It's it's a slant to it, but it also has a bit of a curve too. Saberforge calls this an S-style shroud. And then below that emitter area, you have this really attractive kind of red greebly with some knurling on the side. I like that feature too. A little bit of a taper here, and then you have this activation box that's purely decorative. Saberforge does say that you can request to have the saber without the activation box, you know, for kind of a more comfortable grip, or, you know, if you'll be dueling with the saber, you can opt to not have that added to your saber, but you do have to put a comment in the order notes to do that. So here it's an empty hilt. You would ordinarily have a switch here, and keep in mind if you purchase an empty hilt from Saberforge, their default is to have a dummy switch glued on. So if you don't want that, I think you may be able to make a request for them to not include the dummy switch. Otherwise, you'll have to, you know, find a way to remove that dummy switch. But moving down the saber, we have this kind of nice grip. I like the black leather grip here, very comfortable to hold, and also kind of complements the rest of the hilt. And finally the pommel. The pommel's pretty sweet too, you guys. Check out that design. And of course the CoverTech wheel as well. Here's the bottom. You can kind of see through this vented pommel. And let's check out the top. So you have some of the retention screws on the side here. I think that's a pretty decent tour of this lightsaber. It does accommodate 1-inch diameter blades, and the length of the saber is 12 inches. So kind of a good size lightsaber, not like super short, but it is a pretty decent size, you guys. And if you are dueling though, you may want to opt to get the version without the activation box. One final thing, it's kind of nice. It makes it a little easier for installs. This breaks apart into 3 different pieces. And that's actually how I received this saber. I got this saber secondhand, and it was just kind of broken apart into these 3 different pieces like that. So there you go. That's most of what you need to know about the Saberforge Reliant. It's kind of a neat Starkiller style saber.